Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel today. I'm Calvin, and today we're back to our business topic. So, in the last week, we're already talking about the cost of money, or the other name, the interest rate, and how that the bank uses on consumer. So, today is another topic talking about interest rate, but it's talking about who is in charge to change the interest rate and who is going to be affected by the interest rate. So when the interest rate change, there are going to have many things will happen. For example, if the interest change, the bank or the local bank will have to change the interest on consumer too. And when that happen, consumer to have to think back about how to use their money. So who is the side that going to change the interest rate? So in many countries, they always have a bank named the national or the central bank. This is a biggest bank that work by the government, and the government give the tax to this bank to working, and then the local bank or the smaller bank will go in to borrow the money from the central bank and let that money for the consumer to borrow. So the central bank is the side that have power to change the interest rate few times each year. It's a power and the right for the central bank to change that, like going to rise or lower the interest rate a few times each year. And all the bank or the local bank who going to borrow the money from the central bank will have to change the interest rate too. So let's take an example when the central bank change the interest rate. So if the central bank change the interest rate by the raised way, which means that they rise the interest bank higher. So for business, that the bank, that the local bank who going to borrow the money from the central bank will have to rise the interest with consumer and business too. And when that happen, business will have to pay more money and going to work more, like going to have cost higher than before. And in this case, some business will go into change the place or changing their mm, technology or instrument or something like that. Or you can say they change the tool to can lower the money that they borrow to going to pay less rent. Okay, let's take an example. In the last week, I always talk about Diamond and Sons. This is the two scientists are working on a project in a company about diamond. Okay, so when the interest rate change, they have to pay more money when they borrow a lot of money. Where like exactly is $100,000 from the local bank, and every time they borrow that money, they have to pay interest too. So the interest is 10%. So they have to pay $10,000 more with $100,000. Totally is $110,000. So when the interest change to 10% of interest to 17% of interest, which means that instead of $10,000, they have to pay back more $17,000. Okay, so if they pay back $17,000, which means they have to cost more $7,000. So we have to find a way to making save or save the money from the business for them to can pay the money. But somehow, if they don't have enough time to saving, they're going to move to a smaller lab and a smaller company for working and then pay less rent. So that's how the business work when the interest rate rise. And then for the consumer, when the consumer see that the interest rate rise, maybe they'll go into saving. It's a very simple thing because the consumer also paying and borrowing money from the bank to buy big things such as house or cars. Like my family maybe, or somebody in like somebody in this country or anyone in the world, always borrowing money from the bank, usually buy a house, a mansion, to buying and building a hotel, or going to open a restaurant. Okay, so when the interest rate rise, their repayment will go up and they have to cost more money. And sometimes it will go up more than what they can afford. So to save the money, they might have to cut back on expensive or non-essential things. And this thing will make the business that selling luxuries can lose the customer when the interest rate go up. And the government and the central bank didn't change the interest just for fun. They didn't change it because they want. They changed it in purpose. Okay? So they are always trying to keep a good economy and make it strong, or to recover from a weak economy to a strong one. And this is a good idea for our business to follow a news about anything that will affect them in the near future, especially about the change of interest rate. Okay, so that's all for my video today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys on my next video. And now it's time for me to say goodbye then.